The PlayStation Store is running a fantastic flash sale right now, and in this video, we're gonna go over 10 awesome games available for under $5 that you should grab right now. Let's get right into this. Bastion for $3.74. Bastion is one of the most iconic indie games of all time at this point. It was developed by Supergiant Games, who have put out some other great indie titles in Transistor, as well as the recently released Pyre. However, Bastion was their first title, and it's an action RPG with an awesome art style, a great narrative that portrays the storytelling really well, and a very enjoyable game all around. It's not very lengthy, you can complete it in 6 to 8 hours, but it's a very engaging experience for that time period, and at just $3.74, it's a great deal, especially if you've never played the title.
Spirits. An arsenal, packing enough heat to remind the beasts of the wild who's boss. Or even that shrine, in case the gods ain't dead.
Mirror's Edge Catalyst for $4.99. Mirror's Edge Catalyst was one of the more anticipated games of this generation. The first Mirror's Edge was released all the way back in 2008 for last generation platforms, and it didn't garner much commercial success. However, those that played the game absolutely loved it for its unique gameplay. Many years later, a follow-up was finally announced in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and so many were looking forward to it. However, it did disappoint a little bit. Mirror's Edge Catalyst followed in trend with a lot of other games in moving to a more open formula. The first title was very linear. Catalyst had a lot of open-ended gameplay, and that probably did more harm than good with Catalyst. However, there's still a lot to like about the game. Visually, it looks really good, and the parkour gameplay is still pretty solid. At this point, for the price that it's at $4.99, if you enjoyed the first game, there's still reason to check out Catalyst because it is a pretty good title. We were just expecting something a little bit different than what we got in Catalyst, but there's still fun to be had. LittleBigPlanet 3 for $4.99. Speaking of a game released back in 2008, the first LittleBigPlanet title was also released back in 2008. Yeah, what a great year of games that was. But LittleBigPlanet was one of the best PlayStation 3 exclusives ever. It had great platforming gameplay, one of the most charming main characters ever in Sackboy, and nearly endless amount of content with its level editor. With LittleBigPlanet 3, you get a lot more of the same. The main story mode is rather short, it's very easy, but this is a game that can be enjoyed by any demographic. Even if you're a bit older, you'll enjoy the level editing, and you can get some charm out of the design of LittleBigPlanet, and at just $4.99, it's a great pickup. Dark Cloud 2 for $4.94. So Dark Cloud 2 is actually a PlayStation 2 title, but it was put onto the PlayStation 4. And of course, with these PS2 titles that were released on the PlayStation 4, they do run at 1080p with up rendering, and they feature trophies. So that's a pretty good incentive to revisit the game. But beyond that, Dark Cloud 2 is an excellent Japanese RPG, a fantastic game developed by Level 5. It's got a great art style that's aged very well, and if you played the first Dark Cloud 2 is a significant improvement upon that game. Although the story isn't anything to write home about, the gameplay and design of Dark Cloud 2 is top-notch, and there's a reason why so many have been wanting a Dark Cloud 3 for many, many years. If you've yet to play Dark Cloud 2 or you want to revisit the game, at $4.94, it is a great pickup. Life is Strange: The Complete Season for $4.99. Life is Strange is a very story-driven game, following in the footsteps of a lot of the Telltale experiences, but Life is Strange also tackles very controversial themes and taboo subjects, so it's a very interesting game to go through. You can't really talk about it much without going into heavy spoilers, but it's a very worthwhile game to play, very unique in terms of the type of story it portrays, and $4.99 is the typical price you'll see Life is Strange on sale for, so this isn't a blow-away deal or anything, but it's very much worth that price price, and there is a prequel release called Life is Strange Before the Storm, and a sequel is in development as well, but for now you can check out the first season for $4.99. Hotline Miami 2, wrong number, for $4.49. The first Hotline Miami was a very captivating indie title, and Hotline Miami 2 built upon the successes of the first game. It's challenging, its presentation, while technically it's not anything to write home about, this is another one of those games that's gonna age really well because of its brilliant design. Now, the Hotline Miami titles are very challenging, so if you don't have patience, this is a game that's very much gonna turn you off, but if you like a little bit of difficulty on your games, you're gonna absolutely enjoy Hotline Miami 2. The first Hotline Miami is also on sale. That one's $4. Hotline Miami 2 is $4.49. Either way, you can't really go wrong. I would recommend to check out both of them because they both are a lot of fun, and at this low of a price, why not? Battlefield Hardline for $4.99. Battlefield Hardline was one of those Battlefield titles that many of you guys have forgotten about. It really felt like a stopgap game between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, but it was still a pretty solid first-person shooter. It had a really enjoyable campaign with a little bit of comedy behind it. Of course, with Battlefield, you're not buying the game for the campaign, you're buying it for the multiplayer, and that was a solid element too. It's got a little bit of depth to its multiplayer mode, and it's got a new coat of paint on it. And yeah, I could understand why you would stay away from the game at $60. It was a lot more of the same, even with everything new that they added. But now at just $4.99, it's a great time to check out Battlefield Hardline. Rogue Galaxy for $4.94. Rogue Galaxy is another great level 5 PlayStation 2 JRPG that was brought over to the PlayStation 4, again just like Dark Cloud 2, 1080p upper rendering as well as trophy support. And what you're gonna find in Rogue Galaxy is a ton of content. This game is absolutely packed and you can spend hours upon hours of it if you want to do everything. However, if you're not a fan of your typical Japanese style games, this game does have a lot of Japanese tropes. The characters aren't all too interesting. Really, the standout of Rogue Galaxy is the gameplay and the design, and Rogue Galaxy is another game that's aged very well, and you can go back and play it and enjoy it. If you're a fan of Japanese RPGs, Rogue Galaxy is one you should definitely check out. This is another game just like Dark Cloud 2 many gamers want to see a sequel to. If you want to check out what all the fuss is about at $4.94, that's as good of a price to pick up Rogue Galaxy as you're gonna find. Need for Speed Rivals for $4.99. You can say so much about the Need for Speed franchise. It's really an up and down series, and recently it's been a lot more down than up, but the PlayStation 4 launch title Need for Speed Rivals was very good. It was the first Need for Speed title developed by Ghost Games, who have been doing the game since, and it's without a doubt the best game that they've put out. It's gonna remind you a lot of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and that was a fantastic Need for Speed title released last generation, and honestly, you can make an argument that was the best NFS title ever, so that's saying a lot about Rivals, and it's a very good game. From its visuals, gameplay, it's not an absolute perfect experience. There were some shortcomings in the online component. However, if you want a quality Need for Speed experience, this is the one to pick up. Stay away from Need for Speed and Need for Speed Payback, but do check out Need for Speed Rivals. It is great. And finally, Oxenfree for $4.79. So the interesting thing about Oxenfree is if you go on the PlayStation Store and you look up the regular version of Oxenfree, it is actually $4.99, but you can pick up the Oxenfree Bundle, which includes some avatars as well as a dynamic theme, and it's 20 cents cheaper, so figure that one out. Nonetheless, Oxenfree is a fantastic game that I will always go to bat for. It's one of the more underrated PlayStation 4 titles. It's a very story-driven experience, very different in presentation from the Telltale style of games, but thematically you can see some inspiration was drawn from those titles. But Oxenfree has a very interesting story. It's a coming-of-age story. A group of teenagers go to an island for a vacation. Things go awry, supernatural beings are introduced, and it gets a little bit crazy, but what I really enjoyed about Oxenfree was the character interactions and character development. It's very relatable. For anyone that's a little bit older, this is a very relatable experience in how friends interact with each other, and I really enjoyed that element of Oxenfree. Outside of that, you've also got some great voice acting that adds to the overall immersion, and again, a great and diverse cast of characters. At just $4.79, if you've yet to check out Oxenfree, please do so. It is a great and unique title.
See, this island's pretty cool, right?
You used to come here a lot as a kid, right? To the island, I mean, I mean, that's what Ren made it sound like.
Yeah, but I mean...
You used to come here a lot as a kid, right?
So that wraps up 10 awesome PlayStation 4 games for under $5 that you should grab as a part of this PSN flash sale. What do you think? Which of these games are you checking out? Let us know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.